Welcome all to our channel GTech Fluent. Our today's topic number 1 in Angular 11 video tutorial series is Introduction to the Angular. So in this video, we will discuss and understand what is meant by the Angular, what are the version or the history of the Angular, what are the advantage of the Angular, and what are the new feature introduced into the Angular 11. So let's start and first we see what is meant by the Angular. Angular is a platform and framework for building the single page client applications using HTML and TypeScript. So now let's see what is meant by the single page application. So a single page application is a web application or a website which provides user a very reactive and the fast experience similar to the desktop application. So it also contains menu, buttons, blocks on a single page. And when user click on any of them, it dynamically rewrites the current page rather than loading the entire new page from the server. That's the reason behind the reactive fast speed. So the Angular 2 is a complete rewrite of the Angular JS and it is written into the TypeScript. So it implements the core and optional functionality as a set of TypeScript libraries that you import into your application. There were only two versions of the Angular. The first one is Angular JS and another one is Angular 2, which is known as Angular. And other versions are enhancing to the Angular 2. Angular or Angular 2 is a component based framework. So the building block into the Angular is a component. So now let's see Angular history or the Angular versions. So the first version, that is Angular JS, is introduced into the October 2010, which is 11 years ago. And the latter version, that is Angular 2, totally rewrite from the Angular JS, is introduced into the September 2016. As you notice, Angular 3 is not introduced. The Angular 3 version is skipped because to avoid the confusion due to the misalignment of the router package version, which was already distributed as a version 3.3.0. So Angular 4 was introduced into the March 2017, Angular 5 November 2017, Angular 6 May 2018, Angular 7 October 2018, Angular 8 May 2019, Angular 9 is Feb 2020, Angular 10 is June 2020, and the recent and the new version is Angular 11, which is introduced into the November 2020. So now let's see what are the advantage of the Angular. So Angular comes with the different advantages. The first advantage of the Angular is a performance improvement. Performance in the Angular 2 is a much improved. This is because the support of the offline compilation and the fast change detection. The support of the dynamic loading and the asynchronous templating are a feature that helps to improve the page load and the response time. The next advantage is a mobile support. Angular 2 has a built-in support for the mobile application development. Note that the Angular 2 render the code differently for web browser and the mobile browser. Next advantage is a component-based development. So Angular 2 is a completely component-based. With the Angular 2, you would just use a component and directives. The controller and the scopes are no longer to be used. So what are the components? So components is like the controller class that is associated with the template. So we will discuss this in our upcoming video with the detail. The next advantage is the TypeScript support. So the Angular 2 or the above version supports the TypeScript library. So as previously, it is not there. Next advantage is the dependency injection. So the dependency injection is a software design principle that help us to abstract the dependencies of the object and make such objects loosely coupled with each other. So Angular 2 has improved the support for the dependency injection. Next advantage is a cross-platform. So you can build and run the Angular 2 application on the desktop, Android and the iOS system. So now let's see what are the new feature introduced into the Angular 11. So the first new feature is the HMR, that is updated hot model replacement support. So the hot model replacement is a mechanism that allows model to replace without full browser refresh. To use the HMR, you need to run ngserve dash dash HMR. So next advantage is the TypeScript 4.0 support. So with the latest update, Angular team has dropped the support for the TypeScript 3.9 version, and now Angular 11 only supports TypeScript 4.0 version. So one of the main reason behind this upgrade is to speed up the builds. So Angular 11 ensure much faster builds than the previous versions. So next advantage is a Webpack 5 support. As we know, Webpack is used to compile large number of file into the single bundle or single file. Angular 11 provide the experimental support for the Webpack 5, and you can use this with the Angular 11 to try out the new things. According to the release note, Angular team believe that they can extend this experimental support to achieve the faster builds and small bundles once things get stable. Next advantage is to be moving to the ESLint. So TSLint was one of the most popular linting tools amongst the developer for the long period of time, but it was recently deprecated and replaced by the ESLint. So Angular is also moving from TSLint to the ESLint with the version 11. So you won't able to use TSLint for the linting purpose into the Angular. Next advantage is to update to the language service preview. So previously the language service was based on the Vue engine. So Angular 11 provides the new more powerful and accurate IB based language services. Although this feature is also still in development, it has the capability of behaving similarly to the TypeScript compiler. This is the some background on the Angular, considering the Angular introduction, Angular history, new feature into the Angular 11. So please let us know if anyone has any query or doubt. We will meet in our next video. Thank you.